Tense is a good word. You're wondering how quick you have to move if you have to leave, if the winds change and the fire comes this way.
Cut off by wildfire. The wait for people in Port Alberni, Tofino, and Ucluelet as a blaze keeps a major highway closed.
It's good news today for Surrey. It's good news for our patients.
The province pledges more help for beleaguered Surrey Memorial Hospital after healthcare workers go public with their fears.
Enjoy.
And closed, but not done.
If we can help them, we should help them.
Owners of a downtown East Side cafe keep serving others even after a fire shuts their doors. Good evening, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. Some more provincial help is now being promised for besieged Surrey Memorial Hospital. As Mira Baines tells us, it follows months of damning complaints from doctors.
We've identified short-term, medium-term, and long-term actions.
Health Minister Adrian Dix says he's met with healthcare workers for their input. The plan includes an immediate focus on a new contract for hospitalists and hiring more staff for the emergency department, maternity ward, and mental health services. He says other hospitals are facing the same challenges with growing populations and staffing.
I'm going to be meeting with hospitals this summer across the province to find solutions in their workplaces that work for them. And they may include some of the actions we're taking today at Surrey Memorial Hospital.
Longer-term plans at Surrey Memorial include enhanced cardiac diagnostic services and renal care and dialysis within 18 months. Almost 36 doctors pointed out in an open letter some patients are waiting as many as 3 days to be admitted to other wards. Another measure to reduce congestion at the hospital involves expanding hours for urgent primary care centers in Surrey. There's some sense of relief and hope that the new measures will take some pressure off the system.
It's good news today for Surrey. It's good news for our patients. It's good news for our community and Fraser Health.
Still, it took mounting concerns over the safety of patients for the voices of doctors to be heard.
Ultimately, we want solutions, but we want people to listen. And I think today was evidence that we really are better when we work together.
The BC Nurses Union says it will be watching for results. The union released a statement and says, "We will be following up with our members to monitor the extent to which these new measures are actually improving working conditions and providing the relief the emergency department needs in order to provide the level of care patients deserve." The spotlight is now on Fraser Health to implement the ministry's action plan. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
The only highway into and out of Port Alberni, Tofino, and Ucluelet is still closed tonight because of a major wildfire. The blaze near Highway 4 has grown to almost 140 hectares, about 350 football fields in size. The CBC's Claire Palmer was in the area earlier today.
Well, today we started off the day in Nanaimo and we've driven up to the area. Once you started to approach Highway 4, you could definitely see the plumes of smoke. Now we're at Cameron Lake, where there's been a team of helicopters. They've been bucketing all day as crews attempt to battle the flames. Highway 4 has been closed since yesterday, and it doesn't look like that's going to be changing anytime soon. But the reason is not for flames, actually, it's for debris on the road.
While the fire is not threatening the road, the areas that have recently burned have now a lot of rock and trees have come loose. Burned out timber has now come loose, and it's threatening the safety of the people traveling on the road below.
Claire, as we know, Highway 4 is a vital route in that area. What's the impact of it being closed?
Yeah, so this highway connects Tofino to Port Alberni to Parksville. It connects the West Island to the Central Island to the East Island. It's been pretty tense for the residents here, and there's a detour currently that will take residents from Port Alberni to Lake Cowichan by way of Bamfield to get them to where they need to go. But as I said, it's still quite tense.
Well, I think it's tense is a good word. You're wondering how quick you have to move if you have to leave. If the winds change and the fire comes this way, you're going to have to get out real quick.
The detour has been described as quite challenging. It is along several logging roads that are gravel. If you don't have the right vehicle, it's just simply not an option. It's going to add about 4 hours of travel time, and they're just essentially discouraging non-essential travel.
Thank you, Claire. A wildfire near the BC-Alberta border we told you about last night has now prompted an expanded evacuation order. Earlier tonight, the Peace River Regional District issued the order because of the West Kiskatinaw River wildfire, which is now burning 96 square kilometers, 25 times larger than Stanley Park. The evacuation order includes properties in Electoral Area D and has now been expanded to include sparsely populated areas west of One Island Provincial Park. Here in the Lower Mainland, 2 out-of-control wildfires near Harrison Lake are sending lots of smoke into the Fraser Valley and beyond. An air quality advisory has been issued for the central and eastern part of the valley, as well as parts of Metro Vancouver. People are urged to pause or limit outdoor activity, especially if your breathing becomes uncomfortable. This afternoon, the Air Quality Health Index for the Fraser Valley hit 8, which is high risk. It is expected to drop in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Donny Creek wildfire in northeast BC is now bigger than the whole of Metro Vancouver. The fire, which is burning 1,158 square kilometers north of Fort St. John, has led to evacuation orders for several nearby areas, much of which is used by the oil and gas industries, as well as forestry. This afternoon, the out-of-control blaze was estimated to be 3,100 square kilometers in size. Metro Vancouver is just under 2,900 square kilometers. And several campfire bans are coming into place in BC tomorrow and will last until October. Category 1 bans will be in place for the coastal, Kamloops, Prince George, and Caribou fire centers. That's most of the province, meaning anyone caught lighting one up could be charged more than $100,000. And you could face jail time, up to a year in jail if you're sentenced. Category 2 and 3 fire bans have been in effect for most of the province since May. Propane campfires are still okay for now. The province has also placed 2 air tankers in Penticton to help with firefighting efforts throughout the summer.
Today we're at the Penticton Air Tanker Base, just looking at the 2 Q400s that we have as air tankers here, as well as the Bird Dog airplane. And they're really nice because they are quite fast, so if we do have a longer dispatch distance to go to, they're going to get there nice and quick, and they carry a good amount of retardant.
2 Q400 air tankers will help fight fires from the air. They operate on an alert system, red meaning the crews must be ready to leave at a moment's notice. The tankers can carry roughly 36,000 liters of retardant. There are more hurdles for some homeowners and others trying to get into the BC housing market. The Bank of Canada has raised its key interest rate by 25 basis points, now sitting at 4.75%. And as the CBC's Zara Premji explains, that's left many British Columbians wondering if and how they can continue to live in the province they call home.
I'm frustrated.
The feeling many British Columbians share as they try to grapple with this latest increase, bringing key interest rates to the highest they've been in 22 years.
My fear is that it will continue to go up.
Life these days is expensive enough.
And for now, it will continue to feel like that.
Having raised rates this month, we have another rate decision coming in July. So, already we're probably at a 50% likelihood that we're going to see an interest rate hike then.
But one realtor argues this raise aimed at bringing inflation down wasn't necessary.
When the Bank of Canada raises interest rates, what they essentially want to do is they want to decrease consumer confidence. They don't want people to be confident and spend money. The tricky part is when you raise interest rates, you're actually increasing inflation, because one of the biggest contributors to inflation is mortgage interest.
And he's not alone in thinking this.
This additional interest rate hike arguably was not necessary.
But it still went through. So if you have a mortgage with a variable rate, it will cost you more. Or when you renew a fixed rate. If you plan to buy a home, prepare to pay more.
It's like a double whammy because real estate prices have increased all year. So they're watching prices go up, harder to qualify.
And if you rent, that extra cost on your landlord could land on you.
I hope things improve and stabilize. I don't know if we'll ever see those low interest rates again.
Now, housing experts say there might be some light at the end of the costly tunnel if you want to look into investing into a home anytime soon. They are expecting the cost of housing to plateau over the next few months. Zara Premji, CBC News, Vancouver.
A controversial housing project in Vancouver's Fairview area is promising to increase the city's rental options. The 28-story residential tower is meant to be affordable for middle-income households, including families, seniors, and individuals. But as Yasmin Gandam tells us, some argue the stock isn't really affordable for all.
We have a huge shortage of housing, not only here in Vancouver, but throughout the province.
With housing in short supply, the province's housing minister hopes a tall tower might alleviate some of the pain. The 28-story development at West Broadway and Burt Street was approved in 2018 and will contain a mix of studio 1, 2, and 3-bedroom homes by 2025.
Most consistent things I hear is from young people who want to ensure that they can be able to raise their kids in the same neighborhood that they grew up in and don't see the opportunity to do so.
But while the project is positioned as a positive for local renters, not everyone agrees. The announcement ambushed by two men from the Vancouver Tenants Union who say the plan fails to adequately deliver housing to BC's most vulnerable.
I'm sorry to be doing this. You and your staff, no offense to you, you do not know what renters need.
They have no plans for dem evictions. They have no plans for tenants that are being driven out by displacement, by gentrification, and they just want to build a lot more of luxury rentals and condos. They want our cities to drive us out of here.
The city says approving the project would result in 200 market rental units and 58 affordable units, with average starting rents at $950 for a studio and $2,000 for a 3-bedroom unit. This housing expert says that's not affordable for all.
Because if you actually go in through the statistics, the median household income for a renter in the city of Vancouver is only $55,000 a year. You can imagine that when it comes to renters, we're not talking about particularly high incomes.
Proponents argue the project, which would be the tallest tower on West Broadway, would deliver much-needed affordable housing in the area. Opponents, though, say the building would set a bad precedent for the neighborhood's plan and increase market rates. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Vancouver.
More than 7,000 cargo movers in ports across BC are set to vote on a strike on Friday and Saturday. The International Longshore and Warehouse Union Canada says its negotiation committee has authorized a strike vote. The union is currently in talks with the BC Maritime Employers Association. It says it will continue to work to reach a fair and balanced deal. Experts warn a strike could lead to major disruptions, not just in BC, but globally. The strike vote coincides with ongoing labor issues at West Coast ports south of the border, where some terminals have already seen big disruptions. Vancouver Police have renewed an appeal to help find a man wanted Canada-wide for drug and firearms offenses. And police are now offering $100,000 to help find him. Cody Timothy was arrested in the summer of 2020 and released on bail on the condition he wear an electronic monitoring bracelet. In April of last year, police say he cut off that bracelet and hasn't been seen since. Casey is charged with crimes related to the production and trafficking of fentanyl, heroin, and cocaine. Soccer fans in BC and around the globe have plenty to cheer and talk about tonight. First, the Vancouver Whitecaps are Canadian champions once again. The Caps scored first and survived a late goal to beat CF Montreal and win the Voyageurs Cup at BC Place Stadium earlier tonight. It's their third Cup win and second in a row after they beat Toronto last year. They now qualify for the CONCACAF Champions Cup next year. The other big talker, though, is this man, Lionel Messi, fresh off a World Cup win with Argentina last year. Today, he announced plans to join Major League Soccer, the league the Caps are part of and play for Inter Miami. Soccer fans here say they'd love to see him in town one day.
That's crazy and exciting.
I think it's really, really excellent, actually, and I hope he comes here.
What would it be like to see him play the Whitecaps here?
I would love it. I would love it.
Maybe he will come to the stadium and we can cheer for him.
So you're Brazilian. Would you cheer for him?
Maybe.
If you're hoping to see Messi play here in Vancouver, could be a bit of a wait, though. The Caps are not scheduled to host Inter Miami this season, so maybe Messi next year.
And never thinking happened to the Ovaltine Cafe.
An historic cafe in the downtown east side is not ready to give up even after a suspected arson forced it to close. You'll want to see this after. Hello to everyone watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. Thanks for being here. Over the next 2 months, a man is going to be cycling from BC to his home in Quebec, all for his grandson, who has a rare disease called spinal muscular atrophy. And as Janella Hamilton tells us, his journey will raise money and awareness, but the ultimate goal is to get patients treatment covered by all provinces.
We want to send this with you, and on it has a little word, hope. And this is what you give us. A simple word that means so much.
An emotional send-off for 66-year-old Bernard McNeil.
And when you are troubling on a hill, or you're just exhausted, look down and feel the strength of us behind you.
As he prepares to cycle thousands of kilometers from New Westminster to his home near Montreal. It's all for his grandson, who is battling spinal muscular atrophy, a rare genetic disease that can damage nerves and cause muscle weakness.
He's sick often because of his lung. They're not strong enough to support him because the muscles are not strong enough.
McNeil's grandson, Malik, cannot walk and has trouble swallowing and breathing on his own.
There's not enough people who knows that disease.
Malik was not expected to live past the age of 2 years old, but newly developed drugs have helped him reach the age of 9. In Canada, those treatments are accessible for all ages, only in Quebec.
We have recently gained access to treatment in Canada. However, it's not for everyone.
Advocates argue there are 3 medications that have proven effective, but each one has differing age restrictions. 28-year-old Taylor Danielson is not eligible for any of the treatments, even as his condition deteriorates day by day.
The most frustrating part of the disease and accessing treatment is the arbitrary guidelines and limitations which have been set on these treatments.
We have patients considering self-harm. We have patients that have chosen to end life because they are just struggling so hard with the decline of their disease, and there's treatment out there and they just can't access it. It's devastating.
As for McNeil, his goal is to raise $20,000 online in addition to spreading awareness. He thinks of his grandson as a warrior, giving him strength and motivation.
Every trip I do on my bike, I think of him.
Janella Hamilton, CBC News, New Westminster.
The owners of a downtown east side eatery are refusing to give up on their business and their community after a fire hit their cafe. As Eli Petargue tells us, arson is being looked at as a cause in last month's blaze at the Ovaltine.
You want to pull the soup off?
That's my bag.
With their doors still closed, the owners of the Ovaltine Cafe take their cooking to the street. Mother-daughter duo Grace and Rachel Chen are giving away free soup using ingredients Grace salvaged after a fire broke out at the restaurant last Sunday.
We have a place to live. We have food. So that's enough. Lots of people, they don't have. So if we can help them, we should help them.
Part of our culture as well and how we raise that, we don't waste a grain of rice. So just for her to hear that, like, just to sit, the food is sitting there perfectly fine and let it go bad, it didn't make sense to her.
Inside, the normally bustling, vibrant diner is now dark. Fire and smoke damage have forced the restaurant to close indefinitely as the Chens look to repair. Vancouver Police, meanwhile, suspect arson may be at play.
Just say that little hurt. And never thinking happened to the Ovaltine Cafe.
We try to think the more positive side, that maybe it was just a bad night that person's having.
But while the fire has cast a shadow on their future, the restaurant's storied past was spared. 80 years of history still lining the walls and shelves.
This is your favorite guy?
My favorite guy.
Oh, that's my wife's favorite guy, too.
Through the years, the Ovaltine has served as a popular filming location, including some of CBC's own.
Sometime back in the 60s, I think the mayor got heavy on the clubs and the bawdy houses. That's when it all started, put everybody out on the street.
The Chens took ownership in 2014 and are determined to keep the legacy strong.
My customer just tell me here like them home. Then they come to here, they call me sister, brother. We like a family. So that's really important to me.
This neighborhood has given us everything that we have. The clothes on my back, my education, everything we have, it's thanks to this neighborhood.
They say the closure is yet another bump in the road in the Ovaltine's history, but they're determined to come back stronger. In the meantime, they're savoring support from the community. Ali Pitarga, CBC News, Vancouver.
There's a live shot of Cambie Street in City Hall. It was hot and hazy across parts of the South Coast today. Johanna will have your BC-wide weather forecast right after this.
Last summer, visitors to Expo were introduced to dragon racing, 45-foot canoes from Hong Kong that just fly along the water. It caught on, and now a Vancouver team is in Hong Kong competing in a dragon racing championship. And Bill Good Jr. caught up with the team on their final practice.
It is 6:30 in the morning, and most of us are barely awake. But for Vancouver firefighter Randy Olson, it's nearing the end of a tough shift. His day, though, is about to get a lot tougher. Randy is part of a team of 27, all Vancouver firefighters who've given up considerable time to paddle their way to a dream.
Go! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start to put it up for a fairness now. Let's really go well. Come on, come on, come on, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
The man in the back steers. The one at the bow barks out the cadence. The rest play the part of modern-day galley slaves. In all, 22 hunks of muscle hell-bent to be the best. At race speed, the paddles hit the water 2 times a second, 120 times a minute, nearly 15 kilometers an hour. Why do they do it? Months of training for a trophy? For Randy Olson, it comes down to a need.
All of us out here are a bunch of ex-jocks that have played baseball or football or Little League this or high school this or college this, and we're all hopping, itching. We want it bad, real bad. The guys are, no doubt, the only thing in their mind right now is coming home with that trophy. The feeling is just, it's in there, it's inside, everybody really wants it.
Coach Dave Bevan climbs on board for a close-up look at their technique. He fine-tunes in his own unique way.
Everybody, bodies out, over the water, out, out, out. Okay, come on out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. All right.
They know they've done well. Bevan confirms it. They are ready for Hong Kong.
Okay, guys, we're looking really good. Are we going to win in Hong Kong? Yeah!
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox. The Talking Stick Festival 2023 Summer Reverb celebrates National Indigenous History Month from June 1st to July 2nd. A variety of performances will wow audiences in film, theater, dance, and music. For more info and tickets, visit talkingstickfest.ca. And CBC British Columbia launches The Herb Original, a new podcast for Indigenous History Month. All episodes are available now on CBC Listen.
Just before we get to weather, let's go to the water. A shark in the water isn't everyone's idea of a pleasant swim, but for a group of Alberni inlet scuba divers, it was a dream come true. They were exploring a shipwreck last month when they spotted a blunt-nosed, six-gill shark. Have a look.
We went down to dive a wreck. All of a sudden, it caught the corner of my eye, and there's no mistaking it. That's a big shark. So then I go to signal to Garrett. I said, "Did you see that big shark?" And all of a sudden, Danton saw it again.
It was a blunt-nosed, six-gill shark. As a videographer, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I mean, six-gill sharks are incredibly rare. The sightings of them are very infrequent. Slowly swimming towards Mateo's lights, and just as it gets to the lights, it turns around, and then it's got me lined up dead center. And to just be sitting there in the right place at the right time with your camera in the right direction as this animal is swimming directly towards you, I was just completely on cloud nine there.
You can still kind of hear us through the regulators. We weren't getting eaten. That's just our excitement, just sheer joy of seeing something so tough to see.
Six-gill on a shipwreck.
Something we'll never forget.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Time for a BC-wide weather forecast with meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe. Joe, hot today, and you could taste the outdoors.
Yes, isn't it funny? No longer does the smell and taste of campfire bring you back to camping. It's memories of summers in recent past.
And not good ones.
Not good ones. Yeah, that smoke that you saw, smelt, and possibly tasted across Metro Vancouver this morning is from the fire burning near Harrison Lake. The winds just lined up to bring that right across Metro Vancouver this morning. Some mixing as we moved through the day, but we'll keep that in mind. We're at the whim of the winds over the next couple of days. Temperatures did break a few records. West Van, Vancouver Harbour, we broke daily temperature records, hitting the 30s as we headed out towards the Fraser Valley. Across the island, high 20s, a little bit warmer today for most stations, and definitely warmer today in the interior. Today was the first day you really hit those 30s for places like Kelowna, Soyuz, Lytton breaking a daily temperature record. And tomorrow we will see that heat once again across southern BC. Thanks to this high pressure system, you can see it really steering the weather up and over the province, so not much, if any, moisture to speak of until tomorrow afternoon. That's when I'm going to watch for this low pressure system to bring some showers and possibly scattered thunderstorms to the Kootenays. It may be a day for new fire starts. It's Friday that hopefully we get more rain than lightning across the southern half of the province, and does look like we will see some showers now in Metro Vancouver for Friday. It's a one-hit wonder, though. We dry right back out for the weekend with temperatures back up to the 30s. Let me just get you there. There we go, seeing those high 20s once again. So tomorrow, a hot day for most of the province. We come down in temperatures a little bit for Friday and then dry right back out right across the province for the weekend into early next week. So hopefully we'll see more than just a 10-millimeter story on Friday, because that's all she wrote as we head into early next week. Dan, maybe another system for Wednesday. That's a long stretch to go with building fire danger.
No kidding. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
And that is your late news for Wednesday. Thank you for joining us tonight. For news at any hour, check our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning at 5:30. Have a good night.